Hello. Okay, so we are back. We are here today reviewing It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey, read on my Kindle. Amazing. I think this book was like around 380 or so pages. I would give this book around 4.5 to 4.7, probably 4.75 stars. Like it's up there. Like there's only a little bit of a reason that I'll get into why I didn't give it a full five. But this book slapped. It gave me what I didn't even know I needed. So what is this book about? So it's about this woman who I think is 28 years old. She's a socialite who lives in LA, and she's kind of just famous for being famous on Instagram, famous for going to parties and all that. And long story short, her stepfather like gives her he's really rich, and so all of her money and income, or not even income, but anything that she's able to do financially, it comes through him. And long story short, she gets herself into a bit of a situation where it's like she went too far. She like throws this crazy party, ends up on the news, getting arrested, like all this stuff goes too far. And her stepfather's like, "You've done too much this time." That's like her trend. That's what she does. And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." And he's like, "No, really, this is too much." So he's like, "You're going back to Westport, geez. It's in Washington. Um, and you're gonna be there for 3 months." So anyway, long story short, Piper and her sister Hannah go to Westport, and it's supposed to be like this location where her dad is actually initially from, and she doesn't know these people. She left there when she was 4 years old and moved to LA, so everything she knows is in LA. And she is kind of like really just taken aback and like, I don't know, this area. She's basically majorly a fish out of water, and she's just supposed to like find herself and fend for herself basically for 3 months straight. That's like her punishment, I guess you could say, from her stepfather Daniel. And while she's there, learns about this guy Brendan, and Brendan's like immediately we get a grumpy sunshine type trope, but like the best kind. Like I don't even know how else to say it, but like the best kind. Anyway, he immediately is kind of like, "Go back to where you came from. You don't belong here. Like you don't appreciate what we have here." And this is like a fishing town, crabbing and fishing, a fisherman's port, I guess you could say. And he is a captain on a fisherman's boat. So Brendan is. So quickly we learn like Brendan is kind of the love interest of Piper, and they kind of do catch attraction and feelings for each other kind of quickly, but they're just so much both from different worlds, and that's kind of like what this book is about, is the unraveling and the entanglement of that, like just them together being from two completely different places. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's like the gist. And you just kind of see what happens. She has to fend for herself. She has to figure out what she can do. She has to find herself because she really lived like this very superficial Instagram, life. Like what is it? Reality versus Instagram versus reality. She was like major Instagram, like putting herself in a superficial type light because that's what she, like her following basically appreciated, and that's what they showed her they liked. So that's what she was like embracing, like the superficial surface layer version of herself. And she goes to this place and she learns that none of that's real. Like, you know what I mean? That none of that's really real, and she kind of has to figure out what she needs to embrace, and that maybe the side of herself that she is currently embracing isn't what she should be. And anyway, so oh gosh, this book was so good. I really liked it. I just really liked their dynamic. I really like their dynamic. I don't want to say too much because that's really like most of the book. Also, this is where her father was from, so she learns more also about her father's past. So that's really cool too. There's like side plots, which I think are special and important just to books. You don't want to be just plain romance the entire time. So throughout this book, both of these characters grow, and that's just something that I really value. And I don't want to say too much and give too much away, but you can really see that each character has their own growth for their own purposes and also for each other's purposes, because they both care about each other, or eventually, like that's what they find, that there's more to life than what they know. And it's really interesting seeing them both learn about each other's foreign worlds, because he's from this like fisherman's location and she's from hotshot LA, and they're just both don't know anything really about the other side, and just learning about that and their naiveness and like coming to see and their evolution as a team, as or not even necessarily a team, but just like as people and the way they tangle together is just really cool. So yeah, I really don't even want to say too much, and I don't know what else exactly to say. I'm gonna read a couple of my notes. I said this book is delicious. That's one of the notes I made. So I said the spicy scenes gave me life, which is true. They really did, though. Wow. Can we just say wow? It was some people are like not into that kind of stuff, but I'm like, hey, this is good content. So, and I don't know, she just did it. She did it well. I don't know, I really liked the characters, like in specific. I liked the two main characters, and then also the side characters were really helpful too, like just to the plot. And there's also side note, Piper's sister Hannah, who came with her to Westport. She actually is in the sequel to this book called Hook, Line, and Sinker, I believe. So she has like a storyline with somebody named Fox, I believe, who's also on the fisherman's boat with Brendan. So anyway, I haven't read it yet, but I'm looking forward to reading that. And some people really like that story as well, so potentially recommend that as well. But yeah, okay. So let me just keep on going down really quick. The character development and relationship building was just on point. Had a lot of emotional depth and heart to it. Yeah, so like they both have their own insecurities and they both come to see that, and just I don't know. I feel like this book is more than just like it's a nice easy read, and like it's cool and whatnot. In that regard, where it just like flows really well, and it's fun and lighthearted, but there's also still a lot of emotional depth about the insecurities and the things that they have to overcome themselves in order to be who they want to be and be who they want to be for their potential partner, and just like seeing the different expansive options that are available for what they can do and who they want to be. So that part of it just really was also really on point. I enjoyed that. A lot of good butterfly moments, just from their interactions, I guess we could just say. That's even just aside from the spiciness. It's just like the really nice, cute gestures that happen, and yeah, Brendan is quality content. So we're just gonna say that. But yeah, so I'm probably gonna go into spoilers soon, but I recommend it. That's pretty much all I'm gonna say. This is rom-com, I guess. I mean, I definitely found like myself laughing out loud a few different times, so I would say this is rom-com. But really good rom-com, and just I don't know, I ate that shit up. Especially the first like half of the book, first like 70% of the book, I really ate that shit up. And so the reason I gave it a little bit less than 5 is probably just because near the end there was a little bit of predictability, and I don't know if this is technically a spoiler or not, but this applies to not almost all books, but a lot of books. Sometimes when you get to the last like 50 pages, they're just kind of wrapping it up. Like the big event has already happened, and they're kind of just wrapping it up, and you kind of know where this is going, unless it's like a major twist. And the books that have those major twists, amazing. I really like that. And you can do that with like a thriller or romance or mystery or whatever. But those twists keep you hooked until the end. You know what I mean? And for this one, I just felt like everything I knew what that was going to happen, I already knew was happening, and it wasn't really looking like it was going to go any other way. So I think at the end there, it was still like fun to read, and it's still like good to wrap it up all in a bow. But in my opinion, I'm like, if I already know where this is going, I don't know. And I hope I'm not saying too much by that. But anyway, aside from that, highly recommend. I would give it 4.75 stars, let's just say. Honestly, when I was like 70% of the way through the book, I was like 5 stars, like full-fledged ahead. But yeah, so anyway, I'm going to say a few spoilers right now, but thank you. And now if you don't want spoilers. So, spoilers, honestly, I don't even know what to say that's not, I feel like I said a lot. So anyway, one thing I did want to point out was the Instagram scene with the boys on the boat where they were like, he was finding her Instagram for the first time, and everybody's like comments and just the way they reacted and their username examples, it just like absolutely killed me. I was dying. That was hysterical. But yeah, by the end, like I just knew where it was going. I was like, you already know they're going to be together. You already know they're going to figure it out. And they had already, that tension in the middle had already broken when they like kind of were happening and they were like hooking up. And then I mean, I know that there were different levels. So first it was like, okay, we're friends with benefits, and it's like, no, we're more than friends, and then it turned into, no, I actually like you, no, I love you, and now how are we gonna make this work? Am I gonna move here? You know, so I guess all of that was that was really fun, and honestly, I liked all of that even more than I feel like I normally would, because normally when that tension breaks, I'm like, okay, I get it, like we're good. The good part of the book is done and moved. You know, now the rest is all predictable. And this, I mean, I'm not even saying it wasn't predictable, but it was still really engrossing to me as a reader. So that was really valuable. But especially by the point of the end, where basically from the point where he said, I'm leaving, I'm going to go sleep on my boat. And then she was like, well, I'm going to see you in the morning. And if I don't see you in the morning, then you know that I've left, like type of thing. But I will see you in the morning. That's pretty much what she said. From that point on, I was like, all right, everything's predictable. Like, obviously, she's going to intend to go, not going to be able to go. He's not going to see her. Then he's going to be like, oh, it all fell apart. And she's going to be like, oh, he thinks it all fell apart. And then she's probably, since they had been building up this party that was going to be happening in LA so much, I felt like that's somehow she was going to get entangled and actually involving herself in that. Guess what? She did, because she was like, oh, I'm just going to leave. And I don't know. And then it was like, okay, well, of course he's going to come and rescue her, and he's going to turn it all around, and it's all going to be fine. So, and it was nice to see it all wrapped up, but again, I'm just like, I already knew that. So, like, the last 30, 50 pages of the book, it's like, okay, cool, that's great. Like, so, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to think of, like, different twists that could have happened. I'm sure there are some, so, I don't know. I just think that maybe toss a couple more in there to make it so that the reader's, like, glad that they really got to the end. They're getting more good content that was different than what they expected. So I guess that was my one thing that stood out of like, that could have been a little bit different, I feel like. Anyway, yeah. Didn't know that this was the book I needed, and it's not even like on surface level, it's not even that different from other books, but it hit different for me. I'm telling you. I just the way he like treated her, and the way she received it, and the way she was the one like pushing away, and he was like, no, I'm freaking serious. Like, I don't know, it all was a vibe, and I accepted that and let the book take me, basically. So that's what happened. So I do recommend it. I mean, like I said, 4.75 stars is pretty darn good. So I am going to be looking forward to reading the next one, the Hook, Line, and Sinker, I think, but I have a few books in queue before that. So I'm going to get to those, and then we'll be reviewing those. But this was really good. I feel like I'm going to have a hardcore book hangover from this, trying to find a book that's going to match this, but this was honestly really good. Okay, thank you.